we are live. Let me switch tab real quick to this. Fresh. Alright, we are live though. Sorry I'm slightly late. I did have something going on for a moment. So yeah, I had to go pick up a package real briefly. And go sign for it. So I would have been alive a little bit quicker. I would have been live on Twitch a little bit quicker than that. If I was. Didn't do that. So I'll give everyone a couple moments as per usual, and then we'll get started. As you can see, I've been practicing a lot. So yeah. That's a thing. It's also time to make some regrettable choices. There's a couple. Oh, actually, let's talk about some things that I've definitely improved on in the meantime, and some other thoughts. Still think it's really funny he can get corrupted. I feel like it should prevent him from getting corrupted. Started memorizing the fact that the wretch does not. Turns out wretch is actually really good for confirming both you and. You. Because if I specifically can pick the wretch, I can find out whether you're lying or not in the information. Now, there's some cases where it's not always the best solution to. Obviously, there's always some solutions where it might not be the best to. But if I'm wondering if you're evil and I need a way to confirm you because it's down to like a 50-50, and it comes down to some weird scenario like with some contradicting information, like saying one character's evil and one character, and then someone else is saying that same character's good. Well, we know one of them has to be evil, so we can test this to see if they're evil or not. So there's that. Still have lost to this a couple times, just because you get some really bad luck. Drunk is a little pain in the butt, not the worst to deal with. Wretch actually tends to be more helpful than awful in most cases. There's cases where I've still forgotten that Wretch counts as an evil minion. Puppeteer I've at least worked a little bit more with, so I got a better idea. I still think the fact that he should be considered a demon instead of Ba, because Ba in Ascension mode, literally a joke. No extra cards will be added to the deck that aren't ones that are there, unless they're Ba added to the deck, and it's just a fake outcast. Really doesn't matter unless you have like a witch with you, and since only one demon can be added at a time, you can't have these two together, so there's not at all a possibility. Same thing with you and you being together, not a possibility. Usually you'll get something like Ba plus Puppeteer plus like Counselor, Shaman, and a minion or twin minion or poison or something there. The only real problematic combination is Witch plus Ba, and even then there's ways to get around that. So I definitely don't think it's too bad to deal with. You just gotta memorize a few things here and there. As you can see, as I said, highest score was that. And the only reason I didn't get higher than 16 was I got really, really unlucky, and I lost to a 50-50, where there were two bombers, and there was no information about either of them. And kaboom. Yeah, that was just very unlucky. Alright. It's been a few minutes, let's get into this. Also, something interesting that I found out is that turns out that the way that Endless works is that it's generally harder than Standard, so we should actually have a lot easier time in Standard. Two evils, okay. Right, okay, well, we know these are guaranteed. So 5 or 9 is a Shaman. Left side's more evil. Either both of these two are evil, or you're evil. Evils are not adjacent to each other. That would likely be true, counterclockwise. Let's do that. Mark there. So 5 and 9 is a Shaman. Is there anyone who could be corrupted? There is a Puka. You could theoretically be the Puka. So you say right side's more evil. Right side's more evil. Terminally, you closest equals counterclockwise would then be true. They're not adjacent to each other, would also be a lie then. That's a doppelganger, so you're legitimate. So we know that right side is more evil then. So that's true if that's true. That comes you into question. I love how the first color do is just questionable. 5 or 9. So you could be left side's more evil. Alright. I want to chop the knight, but in the off chance that you're the Puga, I can't afford to do that. That's kind of the problem. So you could just be telling the truth and saying both of these two are good. That's kind of the problem here now. Alright. Easiest situation to find out. One evil. So you inherently could be lying. Actually, you're gonna say you show up as evil. So it does make you seem legit. Which means that you could be corrupted. No, actually it would be... We might need to reroll on this one, honestly. I was gonna say, because there's not actually... Let's see, is it possible? Right. Right. We know two people have to be lying. We know right's correct. We know both of those two are correct. Oh, you know what I should have done instead? I should have checked you, you, and you. That would have been smarter. Okay. I'm gonna mark you because you're questionable, but not in the same category. So you two are... Okay. We have Shaman in the deck, right? Shaman we do. Okay. 5 or 9 is a Shaman. Either you're corrupted, or which means... Yeah, that doesn't check. That question there. But that would imply that the closest be that way, which means that you'd have to be lying. In either scenario, one of you two probably has to be evil. Okay, I figured there might have been a good chance. We need to restart that either way. There was no information I could get at that. That's unfortunate. It happens though. Sometimes you, as I said, I should have used the gesture on someone else. Because I would have probably got more information. I should have used it on the 2 right here, and then right there. Is that Baker? Baker might be sus. That Baker is sus. That's a drunk, okay. Well, we know the drunk's out now. Doppelganger Rich. So we know there's... One of these two is probably a doppelganger. Okay, assuming that... What's the other one? Okay, you're saying you two are good. So it was counterclockwise. If I flip this over, that means that there would be an Enlightened below this card. Closest evil, that would check out. Hey. It has been a while. I know you've been streaming. How'd it go for you? I've been trying to practice at this. First thing I get into an awkward situation of, well, I did fumble the one bit of information I had, and then the rest of it was just non-confirmable. Aside from saying these two are both on the same side, so they're both telling the truth. But I didn't know if someone was corrupted or if they were evil. We can do a lot better than that. But yeah, how's streets been for you? Also, you missed out on yesterday's announcement. Well, this actually I posted on the Discord. But you missed out on, I hate the fact I can't tab this out properly without minimizing. I can do this. We have emotes now on the channel. Alright, we got... Okay, the drunk is there. Oh, nice, congrats. Alright, so that knight should be a clear test if they're evil or not. Because no one can be corrupted. Okay, that knight's legit. That would check out. You two are suggesting that you and you are evil. So actually we can mark all these because they go in. So either one of you two is evil. Alright. Easiest way to find out. You're lying. That's a doppelganger. Okay, so you... Okay, so that was someone that was disguised. Yeah, we got channel points now. Okay, so yeah, that is a little bit unfortunate there. Because yeah, if he's lying, or is the... Which one is medium? Yeah, infiltrate just the disguised character. That's really unfortunate. Because you technically were telling the truth, but you were disguised as well, so we know you're good. That makes you a little bit sketchy. No, 3 cards away from the closest evil. That has to be true, so you have to be telling the truth. Closest evil is clockwise. Technically speaking, if you're evil, that would make you the closest evil, and the closest evil would be counterclockwise, which means you're the witch. No change in deck? Okay. Or it didn't show me my deck. Okay. Yeah, it's like Mafia, except for the fact that you're the one that actually does the killing. Unless there's like a Lilith on screen, which we don't have one right now. We know the sheep. He's not much of a threat. We know that there's 2, so we know since he... You didn't add a... Okay, we're gonna look real quick. You can't be a lie, you can't lie. So we know for a fact. Is the bishop self-reporting? No, 815, 815. You're both saying 815. That does line up with you being there. There's no wretch, which means... Was affected by an evil... You could be corrupted. You're both saying that 1... Both lying, so that means either one of you's... We can't have a second bishop. There's no doppelganger, and there's no shaman. That bishop, one of these bishops is evil. Problem is... Well, if they're lying, all of them are villagers. That's the big thing. Alright. 8 is not corrupted. Let's test. Poisoner. That means that you're corrupted because you have to kill someone adjacent. So we know that all 3 of you are villagers. Which checks out with you being correct, so you're legitimate. That means that 1 pair of evil, you have to be correct. As I say, I was playing endless as well, so this is... I was gonna say, I don't have lives. And there's not a number of villagers. And Ascension is different. Oh yeah, we have Lilith in here now, because we have Night Cycle. Fun fact, Lilith can self-report. If she's the only card that's not flipped, and Night Cycle happens, and she refuses to kill, then you know it has to be a Lilith. Number 5 or 4 is Poisoner. That does line up. That you could be telling the truth, because the fact if you see that someone is showing up as evil, we know that one was good for a fact. Okay, so 3... So you're saying that you're there, which means that you're probably... 4 is good. 4 shows up as evil. Ha! Self-report! I just talked about that! Oh, I just talked about that. That's amazing! Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, we're clipping that. That's beautiful. No, we're... Twitch, we're snoozing that for right now. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's perfect. Oh. You could be evil, you could be telling the truth. We don't know. Problem is that, well, you could still be evil, and you still could be the poisoner that could have been lodged there, and there'd be no liar. I can't afford to kill the knight because I take 9 damage if they're innocent. Oh, you know what I can do? 1, 2, 0 evils. Either that knight is evil, or that's a poisoner. I can afford to kill you. You are corrupted, which means the knight is the poisoner. Lilith Witch Twin Minion. That really sucks. 693. 8's a real medium. We want to pull that up. 7's a medium. 9 is dead. We know it's there. I'm good. So either you're evil or you're evil. And you're saying 3 is a real medium. You 3 are all confirming each other. So either all 3 of you are evil. Okay, that's good. So we know that you're there. So corruptions will be true. 2 pairs of evil. Is that possible? You could be a drunk. You could just be a drunk. 7's a real medium, not true. You're a drunk. So that doesn't tell me anything. 8's a real medium is a lie. That means you're a minion. 6, 9, or 3, that means you're legit. Anyone potentially... You would have been out of range. Okay, so drunk is right there. You have 2 range, so you've got to here. You're technically telling the truth, so you can't be a liar. 2 pairs of evils. I think you have to be a liar then. Actually, let's go ahead and check you. Yeah, Twin Minion, yep. Which? Which Puka, Doppelganger, Bombardier? Can't do that. You can't lie. You know the wretch has to... I don't know, it's Doppelganger, it's not a wretch. That's a problem, actually. I could check 3. So that would imply that you and you are evil. Or one of you two is evil. Which implies you. So let's go ahead and put all you into a group. And you're implying that neither of these two are evil. So you're implying that you're evil. Which is true. Which makes you legitimate. Which means you're legitimate, most likely. So doesn't mean you're guaranteed. You said 1, 2, or 3. You're likely legitimate. I almost kind of wished you were evil, so that way I could be like, okay. Actually, no. I just don't want you to be evil, because I'll create an awkward situation. Oh, there, we got that right here. Does the Hunter Lie actively tell me that both characters are good? No, it does not. Alright. 1, 2, 3. There is Bombardier. There are no outcasts. You're a liar. You're corrupted. 7, 8, 6. You're probably a liar, or you could be evil. However, that's true, so you have to be telling the truth, which means that bishop has to be... Let's check over see what this is. That would be Puka. I thought so. Which in Puka again. 2, 4, 8. I don't know what both these are. Left side's more evil. You're good, you can't lie. Oh, let's help that you're there. You're sketchy. 4, 1, 7. 4, 2, 8. Okay. You could both be lying and saying that they're all innocent. I actually think I'm better off axing one of you and seeing what happens. Because if you're telling the truth, if you're corrupted, we know that one of you two is evil. And if the judge says that you're lying, then that's evil. So all 3 of these are good. All of them are good, so 4, 2, 8 is good. That's confirmation. But we don't need to waste a check to see if you're there. We know for a fact. 427. We can also flip this card over now since it's a dreamer. Okay. We know for a fact that left side has to be more evil. No, left side's more evil. It doesn't. All characters of my info are good. Left side is more evil. There's a doppelganger. Okay, you're corrupted. You are corrupted. One of you two is evil. Which means you have to be good, which means... Puka. 3. Lilith, Minion, Poisoner, Drunk, Bombardier. Cards in this one. Okay. I want to see if 10 gets killed. I actually want to see if 10 gets killed on this one, because if 10 gets killed, we know you're legitimate. Which means that you know you're legitimate. You did, and that wasn't a kill, so that means we know you're legitimate, you're legitimate, you're legitimate. So we know 3, 9 are both good, because 10 got killed, and if it was an evil, it would have said evil's killed. It would have given me a notification on that, and it did kill, so it's an evil. So we know that's correct. 2 cards from the closest evil, that would be 5. We check that. That's the Lilith, which means you're correct. Minions, 2 cards from the closest evil does not help at all. Bombardier... Drunk. Let's go for characters we know for a fact. Is that evil? No, that can't be. Okay, I need to think. I need to think this through. Okay, so if there's no outcasts among 2, 9, and 5, you're not corrupted, you're not evil. That makes you evil. That would make you evil as well, by that process. 1 is lying. You could be a poisoner. Minion, I thought so. I thought so. That checks out. That checks out. I was gonna say, just to take a moment to think about that. If there's no outcast, that bomber has to not be a bomber then. It's the only way to confirm. And since it was 2, we can check that. It says lying. Well... if there's no... there can't be no outcasts, or you have to be there. We know you 2 are good, so yeah, that has to be correct. Ascension level increase. Alright. We actually have 7, or 5, or 6 cards here now. Interesting. Okay, well 7 was good, so we know that you're legitimate then. Evil side is left. 5 or 4 could be poisoner. You're accusing this because you 2 are both correct. You have to potentially be corrupted or evil. 1, 2, 5, 3, 6. You're both accusing that one. So you're the drunk, of course. That's unlucky. It happens. There is a poisoner. Which, if he didn't get there, that would mean that that has to be right there. Because you get these two. And you can't be corrupted unless you're a poisoner. So, you can tie these two together. 7 or 8's poisoner. Well, you just used one of these two. We know you're good. No corrupted characters. That lines up with what I said. Alright. Let's test this. Couldn't kill 8, so either you're legitimate, or you're both evil. Or you were poisoned. Want to use poisoned. So either 8's legitimate, or you're evil. Okay, let's test this. You're legitimate, so 7 or 8's a poisoner. That's a poisoner. You're a drunk. You're a doppelganger. Something stopped you from killing. You couldn't kill 8 for some reason. Even though that wasn't evil. Which means you're evil. Alright, confirm you're good. That means you're evil. Or you're evil. Because you had to poison this one or this one. Well, you both can't be evil. So you're perfect, there's no corrupted. You probably have to be evil. There's 2 pairs of evil. Hang on. Alright, easy test. Two evils, that is correct. So you are legitimate. Question is, did you poison you or you? I can't do anything. Doppelganger minion, okay. I don't know why I didn't kill you, to be fair. I probably should have. I don't know why I didn't just axe you first. Because that was more likely. I don't know why I didn't do that. It's a bit foolish on my end. 6 is with doppelganger, well. And you're good. 8's real judge. Well, we know 8 was real judge, so you're both proven. 6, 5, or 8, assuming... So one of you two is evil. 4, 8, 3... Alright, so that was true. Don't mention 2, interestingly enough. Okay. I don't know why did I hit that one. Let's test that, yeah, Counselor. Because that's Doppelganger. Alright, accidentally used that one instead of hitting the Judge. So it would have easily confirmed. It was fine either way. 1 outcast. Find out which one it is. So 8 Plague Doctor. I'm dizzy, you're questionable. I am 1 card away from a corrupt character. Either is that Puka? Poisoner. Well, something's sketchy here. Either you're corrupted or you could be a poisoner. You're evil. In order for you to be corrupted, you could be the drunk. 8's real Plague Doctor. Supposed to equals counterclockwise. 4's good. Vexper's good. Okay, that's corrupted. That's objectively true, which means we know you're correct. So that's the drunk. Alright. Let's do this. Two's good. You have to be telling the truth. You can't be evil. Because of the fact of you included yourself, you self-reported, you're safe. So, because if you're lying, all your info's villagers. And there's at least one villager. You're at least a villager. One villager, one outcast, evil. So you're saying you're good, and you're questionable, so you're probably evil. I mean, 3 cards away from the closest evil would be here and here, so we could accuse you 2. You're saying 2 is good. I'll just mark you 2 for the sake of, I know it's green, but there's not another color. I wish there was a 5th one, or 4th one I could use. Anyone corrupted. No Plague Doctor. So that does line up that you have to be legit. 2 is good. Does line up with you being... You have had to be 2 tiles away. That's the way that would have worked. 5's good. So we can test that. Both sides are equally evil. That's questionable. I was an architect. You know you weren't. You were not an architect. You were evil. There's just a witch. Witch could still be on the last card. 5 is good. You both can't be evil, so you have to both be telling the truth. There's only 2 evils, and we got one of them right here. I guess technically that could have been a baker, but that would have been so unlikely, because you would have said... Well, it would have been an original baker, I guess. It's technically possible, but it was like very unlikely. You know what? We can find out if there's any outcasts here. I suspect that you're probably... We know... No outcasts. Alright, we can go... 1, 3, 5. There's drunk. Judge. I figured that was a drunk, yeah. Makes sense. Medium, Knight, Empress, Judge, Fortune Teller, Wretch, Plague Doctor. Okay, so this is right here. Alright. Six is real Plague Doctor. 275. If you're evil, you're evil. Okay. 8, 2, 3. You do the 2 of the same characters in here. Actually, that involves a lot of you in here. The only one who's not involved is the Knight here. Well, that one before. Problem is, I can't just axe the Knight in the off chance that the Plague Doctor straight up poisoned the Knight. That could straight up just get me killed. So, I can't actually axe him. I'm trying to think, what's the best case scenario here? Because I don't have an idea of who's corrupted. Don't have a guarantee. Could use the Judge, because one of you 2 has to be... 3's lying. Alright. Kill 3. Okay, you're legitimate, so you're good. So we know that you're telling the truth. Which means... Ah, poisoned. Okay. Oh, I should have checked for corrupted on him first. That's what I should have done. That's what I should have done first. I don't know why I didn't think to do that. Yeah, well. The current run is over. I don't know why I didn't check yet. 3 is real drunk. That's a really specific bit of information. Corrupted character. You could be corrupted. You could have been. You're accusing both of these two. Both sides. That's hard to say. There's no plague doctor in this. No, there could be actually, because he died. That's what this is. They did say there's 2 right here. See, that has to be a plague doctor. So you could be either you're corrupted or you're corrupted. Problem is you push one good. Knight could still be corrupted. We can't afford to axe the knight. Jason, both sides are equally. Ooh, this is a tough one because assuming that is in fact legitimate. Anyone that isn't mentioned that could be. It's not gonna tell me whether they are. Doesn't tell me anything. That is true then. I was gonna say that was the weakest link. So we know that's true. So you're evil. Remove that, so you're confirmed. So we know that you're a drunk, most likely. Because you don't have a reason to lie about that. That wouldn't help. Problem is even if I put you, unless I put you both on evils or I put you on both goods, I could actually. So you are a drunk. Either you're evil or you're a drunk. And if you were lying about them being a drunk, you'd be evil. There's only 2 evils. So you're confirmed. You're a drunk. What else? Okay, so we got you 2 as evils. Or you 2 as evils. You 3 are all good. We know you're drunk, you're legit, you're legit. Both sides are equally as evil. Assuming that is legit. Ooh, this is weird. This is weird paradoxically. You actually cannot be lying, because if you were lying, then that would be true because left side, right side. So you have to be telling the truth. So one of these 2. This has to be true as well, which means the knight is most likely. That could be a minion. Hang on, one could be a minion. Poisoner? Lilith, minion. Okay, you know, no, you could be corrupted. That's what it is. I was gonna say that adds up real quick. I'm like, wait, hang on. Had to take a moment to think about that. I was gonna say the only way that would line up, I would say, wait, no, that can't be true because that would be on the right side then. Has to objectively be true. Right, doppelganger. So that's actually legitimate here. Oh, I'm nuts. We got this again. I was a lover. You're dead. 7 or 9 is a counselor. 9 ain't. Wretch, that actually could be. Yeah, we know that you weren't ready. You're very likely. Okay, you're counselor because the fact of if you were a genuine lover, you would have said you were evil. Okay, 2 or 7 is counselor. That does line up. It does line up. 5 is real oracle. That is true. I was a baker. No, you weren't. You said you were the original baker. Interesting. So we have 4. So Puppeteer did in fact convert someone. Did find that one out when I was playing Endless, that if the Puppeteer does in fact have a neutral next to them that converts, or like 2 evils next to them, they will not convert. There will only be 3. So we do know for a fact the Puppeteer converted. So that's actually really good info to have straight off the bat. That inadvertently gives us more info. Okay. 908 is Puppeteer. Oh, there's no reason not for me to pull all the cards first. 908 is Puppeteer. Is anyone corrupted? Plague Doctor. Just the Plague Doctor. There's a chance that you could be telling the truth. You could be corrupted as well. Actually, no, if you were corrupted, you can't be corrupted. You're either evil. Let's mark you in red right now. You're either evil or you're telling the truth. There's no in between. 2 cards from the closest evil. You two both actively contradict each other. Left side's more evil. That does correspond to that. We can do here. Boom, boom, boom. No outcasts. Minion. 1, 2, 3. No outcasts. Puppeteer. 9 or 8 being a puppeteer is wrong. Corrupted. 2 is corrupted, 1 is evil. Or 2 is evil, 1 is corrupted. That'd be correct. 1 of you 2 is evil. Here's the deal. Left side's more evil. It does check out. So you're the puppet. Which means I just tried to tap. Alright. 4 villagers, 1 outcast, 1 demon. Doppelganger or Wretch, we'll find out which one it is really quickly. We have a Wretch, so no Doppelganger. 7 was affected by an evil. 7 or 3 is a poisoner. If 7's a poisoner... So you two actively contradict each other, and you're also accusing... So it's actually more evil. Poisoner is 1 card from the closest evil. That's a lie, because if that's telling that... I was gonna say, actually it could be. We can't mark you out yet. Because you count as an evil. You could be the poisoner. Alright, let's check. Corrupted. 1 of you choose poisoner. Poisoner is 1 card away from the closest evil. That implies you're correct. That you're poisoner. So you're correct for sure. 7 or 3 is a poisoner. That's a lie. In the meantime, how has everyone been doing? We've been kind of focusing on the game. And chat's been a little bit slow, but how's everyone doing? I'm gonna refresh Twitch actually in the meantime. Because I need to. I'm getting notification on that. Who is the weirdo posting that? No, you don't get to do that in chat. That's weird. That's just weird. We don't get to do that in chat here. I'll deal with that later. I'll ban it later. Actually, I need to file a report to Twitch first about that, then I'll ban it. Actually, let me go back in there. Notepad. Alright, there we go. Sorry about that. You're either evil or corrupted. Do we have anyone that can corrupt? No. Seven's good. Assuming that's very likely. Okay, you were. We know you were good. Closest evil counterclockwise. That's true. That was a minion. I am the original baker. I am busy. 1 evil adjacent to me. You would have had to be 2. You would have said 2 because that's evil, and that counts as evil. I am dizzy. Two liars. And then do a duplicate of 1 card. Whoa, okay. 7's good. Alright, we need to get this all in one loop. Okay, so 7's good. 7's saying 5 is a real jester. 6 is a real medium. Okay, this is a weird scenario. Okay, you know what it could be? So you two are unaffected. It's risky, but I'm almost willing to kill the knight. Because if the knight happens to get killed, I'll lose 9 HP. But that would tell me that you're evil. Which would mean that you're evil. And we would know our guy. You're legitimate, so that means that neither you nor you are the puka. Which means that you are in fact legitimate as well. Which means that either you're evil, or... because you could be lying. You're in disguise character, you do disguise. So it could be you, and that could be a lie saying that you're the real medium, because you're disguised. You two could be evil. In fact, that's actually what I'm lined up towards, yep. That's what made the most sense right there. 4, 1, 1. Wretch Bomber. One of them's gonna start showing up. Also, we're getting to the point where we actually have cards starting to show up now. That aren't in the deck. 8 is evil. Actually, I should have flipped that over, because if you were there, you would have had to potentially... So either you're evil or you're evil. We know you're good. In the off chance that... well, we know you're for a fact that you're good. 8 is evil. Let's test that, because if you're correct, then all 3 of you are good. Hang on, that's not possible. Because you're saying that one is evil, 8, 2, or 6, and you're saying that 6 is evil, unless 4 is evil. No, only 4, 9. Okay, you both could be saying the bomber's evil. That could mean you're evil, but is there anyone who could have been corrupted? No, so you have to be telling the truth. Because you would have lied and said a different number. You two could both be evil. That is evil, so you're correct. All of you are good. Which means... one evil. Okay, let's see what we got. Let's flip the cards first. Let's see what we got. Puka, drunk. I have 2 cards from a corrupted character, so either you or you, which means that you could be evil. No, you can't be evil. You have to objectively be correct. Because you're including yourself in this. 1, 2, 5. Either you're all villagers, so you're... either you're evil. There's a real knight. That's very likely legitimate, actually. That is a drunk. Okay, so that does correlate to... ooh, we're in a pickle. But anyway, you could be the puka. Assuming that bishop is correct, 2 or 3. One of you two is evil. You also could be... I was gonna say, you also could be telling about that being true. That makes sense. That makes sense. We're getting it now. Actually, we have been getting it for a bit. Listen, sometimes we just get into a scenario where we get a little bit of bad luck, but usually there's a way to get through there. I was gonna say, I think we've only had a couple, between this stream and the last stream, we've only had a couple 50-50s. I've had more playing off-stream. Okay, so if we know that neither of these two spawn, we know a doppelganger is in play. Doppelganger cannot be corrupted, I have found out. Which is weird. 1 evil adjacent to you, 4 is good, 1 evil adjacent to me. common. That doesn't help. We know one of you is there. You actually could be there. I'm actually gonna have to... This is not night, so we don't know why we were going to that first. Alright. So, 2, 3, 4. 4 was legitimate. That's a problem. Because you both... You're both saying that you could be there, and then you could be lying. And here's the problem. 2 corruptions. Is there anyone that's getting corrupted? Yeah, so that's the evil next to you. Let me check this. 5 is not corrupted. Assuming that you're not evil, then you're evil. Then you're corrupted. I was gonna say either you're evil or you're corrupted. So you're possibly corrupted. We know that that's legitimate. 2, 3, 4. 2 is most likely evil then. 2 evil's adjacent to you. Oh, hang on. Oh, hang on. You could be corrupted, and all 3 of you could be villagers. Forgot to pay attention to that one. Yeah, as soon as I did that, I'm the ritual baker that's inclined. I was a lover. Okay. 3 lovers. Okay. We have, yeah, doppelganger and hookah. Could have. Was a lover. The ritual baker. No evil's adjacent, which means you're both backing each other up. No corrupted characters. That's a lie. So it could be you, could be you, could be you. 5 is a real scout. Your information includes the disguised character. You could just be lying. You can't be a liar on that one. You'd say you were a random villager. Like that. You would say that... Oh, you know what it could be? You... Alright. I was gonna say, you went and said that you were a lover instead of a baker. Or not baker, a scout. 7. Huh. Hum, hum, hum. Hum, dee dee dum. Let's see. One puppeteer did convert successfully, so we know that if they're next to the bombardier, that this is evil or this is evil. You were a poet, no you weren't. You were drunk. Considering you're there, you would say, I was gonna say either you'd say 2 evil, well, I was gonna say, oh. Here's the thing. I'm actually inclined to believe you, which means you and you are good. Well, so we know you're good. 7's good. I was a baker. Puppeteer. Puka. You could be, 438. Yep. Witch. Okay, we got 3. Hang on. This is the valuable insight I was talking about. Puppeteer, Witch, Lilith. There's only 3 evils. Puppeteer was not able to convert someone, so Puppeteer's next to 2 evils. Or he's next to a neutral. So he's here, or here. Or he's next to a bunch of evils. So both of these 2 immediately become really sketchy. You know, you were good. Witch. Okay, well, if this one gets killed, we'll find out. 4's a real druid. You two are backing... Oh, so you're backing you up. You're sketchy. Puppeteer's 1 card away from the closest evil. That would actually be true, because Puppeteer would... That doesn't mean that you're not the puppet. But Puppeteer would be adjacent to theirs. Knight... There is no one who could get corrupted. Knight's a safe call. Lilith, okay. So, here's what we can do. That's a genuine medium, which means that's legitimate. Lilith is 2 cards away from the closest evil. Is a lie. So you're the puppeteer. Puppeteer has to be right here with the druid. With the witch. Because that would have been a convert. Who are you? A bard. Puppeteer, Counselor, Bath. Okay. So we know there's 2 of you in here. Three pairs of evil actually could be possible. There is a wretch, so it actually is possible you could have like 1, 2, 3, or 3. That would imply that you two are all evil right here, or you're a liar. So you're either lying or you're accusing one of these of being evil. You cured 2 corruptions. The 2 people have been corrupted. No. Plague Doctor, check him. 6 is evil. It does line up, which means 3 is corrupted. We know you two are good. We know you're there. We know that's the puppet. Which means either you or you are evil. Okay. Here's the... We'll check for an outcast. If it shows up as a wretch, we know for a fact. Okay, that does not show up as there, so you're legitimate. You're evil. Closest evil is clockwise. Not physically possible. 3 pairs of evil... Ooh, hang on. The wretch could still be evil, theoretically. 3 pairs of evil would be... Hang on. 1, 2, 3. That actually is true. Closest evil is clockwise. Has to... I just realized that's a... Is it possible you're evil? Because the fact of you did give me information... Actually, hang on. You did give me information about you being there. You being there. Counselor. I was gonna say, that would have been possible. It was weird, but it was possible. We did have the HP to kill, so we could. Knitter absolutely coming in clutch. You are you. I mean, you could be the puppet. So if you're the puppet, you're implying that you're evil. Or you're evil. So you could have disguised as them. Left side's more evil. 6 is real dreamer. 2 pairs of evil, that is likely. Because you could be telling the truth, in which case, you'd be right here. So you're accusing you and you saying there. 2 could be Bass, so you're not. You're not evil. 7 has to be evil because... Or you could be lying. You actually could be Bass. Oh, left side is more evil. Plus, one of you doesn't lie. Oh, here's the issue. I actually don't know if you're evil or not. I actually might have to kill you. Because I can't confirm whether you're evil or not, and you could still be evil saying that you're, you know, real dreamers lie. The doppelganger, no. Let's test this. You're legitimate, so 7 has to be a puppet. That's true, obviously, so that doesn't matter. Okay, so 6 is a real dreamer. 2 could be bad, doesn't really help. Actually, probably would have been better if I went ahead and axed you, or you first. That's likely true. There has to be a pair of evil. Puppeteer. And that checks out too, yep. Four, so I did get converted. So if Puppeteer's definitely not next to, I was gonna say, if Puppeteer's next to an evil, we know the opposite side of them is a puppet. 6 is a real druid. Well, 6 was dead. That actually does help me right now. So you know you're confirmed. See, that's an evil right there. That was an evil. So we know that one was an evil. That one died. And that means that wasn't the Lilith either. That could be the Shaman. That could be the Puppeteer. That's not amazing for us to find out. Drunk could be here. I actually don't know if that's the Puppeteer. If that's... We just know it's not the Lilith. Actually, this is not a good scenario for them to be there, because it could be a Puppeteer. Actually, let's find out something. No. I need another good confirmed. No, I can. These are false, so you're correct. If you cured, you could be just making something up. So you could be evil. You could be evil. Puppeteers. Hang on. I was gonna say that doesn't make sense. Hang on. Puppeteer would have to be adjacent to one of the evils, which means either you're evil or you're evil. Puppeteer. The judge. Could be saying truth. That's the Lilith, which means that has to be puppet. Puka Poisoner. We need to expect 2 lies. 3 lies, actually. 2 to 3 are going to be lying. Or you could be corrupted. Or, well, if you're corrupted, it doesn't matter. You don't do anything. Unless I kill you. 6 or 7's Poisoner. And you're also saying that you're a real judge. If you're a real judge, I can still use your ability if you die. It's very possible you two could be evil. Left side's more evil. You could be... You see, it's very possible that you could be the Puka. You could be corrupted. Be there, because there are 2. Either this is truthful, or this is corrupted. We know this cannot be evil. At least I don't think. Because both of these two are saying the same thing. Kill the judge, that is a poisoner. We can still use your ability. You go, well, why would you want to use the poisoner ability? Here's the thing. If he says truth to someone, he lies. So we know they're evil, or they're the... No. So we know that they're just straight evil if he gives a confirmation. If he says that they're false, then we know they're good. So C6 is real judge. This is like... What was I say? Since this is true, this is correct. So we know for a fact that this being there, you could be corrupted, so the knight could be evil. We know you can't be evil because you wouldn't have sold out one of your teammates. Because, yeah, you just said both characters are good, so we know for a fact that you're legitimate. So, you or you are evil. Truth. So you're law. Actually, why am I saying that there? I knew that was there. Why did I do that? Knight. Puka, yeah, I was gonna say if it was, I was gonna actually say that had to be Puka right there. Confirmed. I don't even why I did that. I could just kill the Puka without even checking. Or I could have used it better. Doesn't matter, it works out. Leave a little bit of room for flexibility. Villagers, outcasts, minions, demons. There's a plague doctor in here, so there could be more people. Kind of witch, right? Shaman. This is duplicated by the shaman. Slayer doesn't help me right now because I don't know if he's evil or if he's evil or corrupted. 2 cards from a corrupted character. That would imply you or you. You could still be in there. 4 is a real jester. And that also ties you in because you could be lying. You could be corrupted. No, actually that wouldn't be... Okay, here's what we know for a fact. You're not the Puka. We know for a fact you're not the Puka. Because if you were the Puka, you would not be saying 2 tiles away. If you're the Puka, this would be corrupted. Therefore, this would be true. This would be a lie. This would be the truth then. And if you're lying because you're corrupted, that would not be there. Alternatively, if you were evil, this would then be there. Which means, is the jester evil? Because if the jester's evil, you're lying. Unless you're talking about up here. It could still be there. However, I think that makes you legit. Because if you're corrupted, if you're evil, and you're evil, that would be truthful. Alternative, I was gonna say no, the only... Could that, what if these... Okay, hang on. Actually, let's check this right here. So what if you're Puka? Puka, corrupted, corrupted. You could still be lying there. You'd have to be referring to here, which could be there. One pair of evil. You could be corrupted, you could be lying. Ooh. Could I kill 4? Okay. So we know that you and you... Either you're telling the truth, or you're evil. If you're corrupted, doesn't matter, you'd still be good. If you're evil, you're there. Jester. 4 is a real jester. I think you have to be good. You have to be good because you'd say 1 card away. She was not corrupted. Okay, you would have said you were if you're there, so you're legitimate. Either they're evil, or they're telling the truth. 4 is a real jester. If you were the Puka, you would not be saying that, unless... let's see. I actually don't have all... I don't want to waste this until I have better information to work with. I just might need to kill someone. Because you could be both evil. The bard is the sketchiest one right here. That is a bard. Okay. Oh, shoot. I didn't mean to... This is Dramer, not... Oh, I get the 2 of them mixed up. Well, I just wasted that for no reason. I might die here. That's the problem. Jester. I got no jesters. I can still figure this out. We actually know that... 3 evils. Corrupted, okay. That was by the Plague Doctor. That was true. So yeah, oh, why'd I do that? I knew both the Jesters were corrupted. One of them's corrupted at the very least. It doesn't matter. That was a wonky town anyway. Okay. This is a little bit better. I can work a little bit better with this. Poisoner Puka minion. Okay. Wow, there's gonna be a lot of corrupted people, though. Jeez. 1 corruption was cured. Which means either you are you, or you are you, or you're lying and you're corrupted, or you're evil. So my immediate suspicions go to you tying these two, because these have to be tied in some way. Either they were corrupted, I mean they could technically just be like one of these two was corrupted, but one card away from a corrupted character that would have to imply here. 10 is corrupted, okay. Minion. Oh, well, it doesn't matter, your ability with there. So we know you're correct. We know you won't be able to kill. You're correct as well. The easiest way to test is that if they said he wasn't corrupted, we kill you. So you're corrupted, which means either Plague Doctor got you, or Puka. Since you cured one, Puka is very likely you. Architect. Okay, legitimate. Okay, so that means unless you were... I was gonna say, if you were cured, or you're legitimate. So we know you're telling the truth at the very least. 2 is good. That's true. Hang on. You two could be evil. There's one way to test this. Okay, you couldn't kill 5. Okay, that was the best way to test it, because you could have been corrupted as well. I don't... Theoretically, I guess. Yeah, we confirm, just to be sure. Because that implies that... That's what that implied. Okay, Plague Doctor can be corrupted, right? He's not a villager, he's technically an outcast. Who I thought in a moment. Okay. Poet, Empress, Jester, Shaman, Twin, Lilith. I am one card away from the closest evil. So that implies either you or you, or you're lying. Okay, that was good then, because that would have said something. Think. I gotta think. 2 pairs of evil. We know you were good. We know you were good. Assuming that this is true, right? Let's assume that this is true. If we assume that this is true, this has to be the evil that you were speaking of. Alright, easy test. 10 is... I figured. So, because I say that I'm not shooting that bombardier. I'm willing to chop you before I touch that bombardier. So, you're lying, and that means you told the truth. The question is, are you lying or are you telling the truth? We know that there's 2 pairs of evil. That cannot be the case because you're telling the truth. So you'd be here and here. 1 pair of evil, 2 pairs of evil. So either you or you are evil. In either case, actually, we could check the knitter. That's evil, which means this has to be... Ooh, it's a legitimate jester. Which means... that could be evil as well. Let's go for characters that I know are confirmed. 0 evils. Actually, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Why did I not just go for 2 characters and then the... I should check you. That is correct. That's correct. You have to be there. 1 card from the closest evil. You would have said... No, you could still be evil. But at the same time, you said you were evil, and you lied. You wouldn't get that. I clicked the... I clicked the Empress and I meant to click... I would have gotten that too. I knew that one was evil too. I thought my mouse was on that. We don't count that. We knew that was evil. We don't count that. I genuinely tried to click that. And I accidentally clicked the wrong one. Oh, that's really unfortunate. Alright, let me think. We know that there's 4, so we can put it. 5 is real fortune teller. Okay. You know, you were saying that 3 cards away from a corrupted character. 8 is good. Actually, I should have left you flipped over. We can check out real quick. That was evil. We know that wasn't... This could be telling the truth. This could still be a puppet. 2 cards with the closest evil. So you're choosing you and you. And by that logic... You could still be the puppet. This could be the puppet master. This could be... Okay, here's what we do. So, fortune teller. Cards away from a corrupted card. You could be saying that there. You couldn't kill 8. Ooh, that's likely. You know, we put 1. Plague Doctor's dead. That's the Plague Doctor right there. You could be corrupted. That doesn't help me. My best scenario here is actually just executing the Jester. Because there's 2 people saying that he's good. Okay, so either you're telling the truth. Okay, I should be getting 2. There's 1 evil, which means you're legitimate. Because you're legitimate because you were there. You know, you're evil. You could be corrupted. You know, you're at least telling the truth. So you're telling this judge is evil. Lilith can go ahead and tell me that I'm lying or I'm telling the truth. Lying, so that's truth. So that means you're not corrupted. Because if 2's lying, that means they're telling the truth because you're lying. So 2's telling the truth. 5 or 3 is corrupted. 8 is good is correct. 5's corrupted. And you know how we can confirm that? False. So we know you're telling the truth. We know you're evil. Or you're not evil. You're not evil. So we know you cannot be puppet. You could be puppet. You could be puppet. You also could be evil that we're able to kill. We know you're telling the truth. I get this wrong, I lose. Okay. What is the possibility? This has to be the Puppet Master. Oh my god, this is a 50-50. No, that's Puppeteer. This is Puppet right here. So we had to go for number 3. That would have been the easiest play right there. It's like a Shaman was the top then. Let's think. Okay. Minion Bass. Alright, next it. You can give a second little Crockers text to me. Okay, I can worry about that later with her. Just her being a goof. Thought something serious might have happened. Sometimes you gotta be a good older brother first. You were corrupted. We can check you with Plague Doctor if one of you says that you're not corrupted. Well, yeah, I figured that one out already. Problem is, it's still giving me the same information. Good to know. You were both good, though. 275. That is correct, so you're also proven correct as well. 3 cards from a corrupted character. That is true. 1 pair of evil. You have to be right here, or you have to be a liar. So we just have you attempt to kill. If you couldn't kill, then you die. It's just a puka. We need to find 2 people that are lying, or if we get someone saying that they're dizzy. Okay, we know you are evil. 2 cards in the closest evil. That would be truthful. Unless you're there, in which case you'd be corrupted. Both sides are equally as evil, not possible. That means you have to be... You're corrupted, okay. If you're corrupted, well, you just confessed to being evil, so yeah. I guess both sides are equally evil because that's right down the middle. I guess that would technically make sense then. Didn't think about it like that. Poisoner, Lilith, Counselor. Okay, there is 1 person poisoned. If we get 2 corruptions... Okay, 1 pair of evil, 1 pair of evil. You both are checking each other out. One of you was corrupted in this circle right here. 6 is good. I'm inclined to believe that. Well, you know what that means. Just for a bit of dramatic moments. You know what that means, right? You refused to kill when there was 1 card flipped over. Goodbye. Well, you're not 2 cards from the closest evil. Well, I guess you could be, but that'd be gibberish. You'd be straight. Actually, no, you have to lie, so it's not even gibberish. 1 pair of evil. You could be both lying. So here's the fun part. You're either both telling the truth, or you're both lying. 4 cards from the closest. Yup. That's a poisoner right there. Or you were poisoned, I guess. So you're corrupted, most likely, because that's true, which means you're both confirmed real. 6 is good. That doesn't... No, 6 has to be good then, because you both can't be there. Double. Worked out nicely. Couldn't have been 2 corruptions. And there's no way for... You're just lying. You were just straight lying. It doesn't really matter if it's nighttime now. There's a witch right here, 754. You could just be... 6 is good. So that lines up with you 2 saying... I'll mark you 2 for that reason. 2 pairs of evil. So either you're both evil, or you're good. 674. That basically lines up with everything here, one of them being evil. You could be evil, you could be evil. The easiest way to test at this point... Oh no. Oh no. So we got a problem. I just realized this is Demon Bluff. This is funny social deduction type game. We have a big problem. Oh no. There's only 1 outcast. One of these is disguised as a bombardier. I chopped the wrong one. We die. Okay, you know what that means? You have to be telling the truth, and you have to be telling the truth, because you can't both be evil, because one of these is evil. So, considering that there's 2 pairs of evil, that's not possible. So that confirms you, and that confirms... That's it. Okay. Well, nuts. So we know the witch has to be one of these. Oh, you know what we can do? That one's evil. Confessor, that would have helped. Not at all. I mean, we would have helped knowing that you're good, but wouldn't have changed anything. I think actually we got all the ones we wanted. Unless we got, like, you flipped over. The only thing that could have been better was get you flipped over, find out you're good, chop you, find out you're good, and then find out that you would have been evil. You're evil or corrupted. There's a puka. We have a witch. You could be a drunk. Clockwise. So that's this way. But in the meantime, yeah, how have you been? Yeah, I played this last week, but it's pretty fun. But yeah, how have you been? That's the more important question here. Also, I'm gonna minimize this from I still need a windowed mode. But we have emotes now. So feel free to make use of them. All the ones that are on Discord are free to use. On this stream I have most of them. Tired, understandable. I was gonna say, what time is it for you? I was gonna say, it's like, given the time, it's gotta be pretty late for you, right? Yeah, it's like 10. Oof. Yeah, it's pretty. So it's not midnight late, but it is definitely late on your end. Yeah. In that case, I definitely appreciate you for popping by, given the time. All right, we got. My drink. My problem. Give me a second. I'm taking my time for my drink. I got some nice water with me. It's black raspberry flavored. Just put a little. It's water with put a little flavoring packet into it. I had a 12-hour shift with the worst coworker I've ever had. Oh god. I mean, I'll gladly listen to you tell me about it if you want to, but if you don't want to, I'm not gonna force you. I'm not gonna pry if you don't want me to. But I definitely will listen if you want to. Oh boy. You're dizzy, so you're evil. You got corrupted. One needs a drunk, possibly. Okay, you were the drunk. You're evil. Closest evil is clockwise. If that's true, either you're evil or one of you two's evil. Okay. Actually, no. Why was this actually confirmed that you were good? Spent an hour venting my grievances to my mother. Jeez. So you two have to be good. So you're confirmed. That's true. Ten cards. But yeah, I've gotten decent at this game. You missed the beginning of the stream. I got up to 16 villagers in a row. I would have gotten 17, but I died to a 50-50. And that mode for the Endless is a lot harder than this is right now. Because we're starting to only get a couple cards that are added in. Like one extra here. Actually, I was gonna say that's because he's here, actually. Never mind. So we have what? Yeah, we have one extra villager added rather than like 3 of them. Rather than like 14. That's how bad this coworker. Another strain on the best days. That's how bad this coworker is. Oh wow. So this coworker is not fun to deal with. Okay, 5 is real jester. 10, 8, 4. That's weird. So we got you saying you. Either you're both evil. Corrupted. There is. We have a lot of duplicates here. We have 2 doppelganger? No. Ooh, this might be one of those hands where I might just have to have it reshuffled. Shaman, Ba, and Minion. There's no counselor, so we could still be evil, but it's not guaranteed that there's one guy right here. Alright, let's find out. 10 or 5 evil false. So assuming that you're now correlating with them, which means that you 3 could be there. Alright. You couldn't kill 10, which means either 10 is legitimate, and it means that's evil. So all these people are good. Alright, that's good. We know all these are good. That leaves down to 2. Alright. Couldn't kill 2. Either 2 is good, or you're... Actually, let's go check this out. 10 to 9 is not corrupted. You could be evil. You could be evil. You could be evil. I default to English when texting. My mother doesn't know English. I had to willingly sit there for an hour reading a paragraph in Lithuanian about how much I hate this woman. Oh, jeez. I have, a friend who's Brazilian. I have a couple of friends who are Brazilian. One of them's been on stream a couple times, one of them hasn't, but he's popped in chat a couple times. If that makes sense. And I know one of them was having some issues. And I know English isn't his first language. But like, I feel you on there sitting there for a while just writing everything into a different language, because that's basically what he did. So I feel you on that. I can get the idea of just the frustration, plus the difference of having to translate it, because he said he defaults to English. Ooh. No, you're painting a really good picture about how infuriating that woman must be. I'm glad I don't have a coworker like that. Fingers crossed for you that tomorrow's gonna be a lot better. Fingers definitely crossed there. Okay, it's not corrupted, so you're either evil or you're legitimate. Let's find out. Actually, we can either test. I was gonna say, we can find out. Tomorrow I've got off. Oh, nice. So you'll just be able to take a nice day, relax, do your thing. Infinitely better, yeah. Okay, I'm better off not killing this knight, just on the off chance. Yeah, I figured that was the best kill right here, because I could still use the fortune teller. 9's not corrupted, that is actually true. If you were evil, you would have said 9 was corrupted. Which means that knight was the easiest kill, because if that knight was innocent, you would have had to be evil. Ooh, such a 9. Okay. 7 cards, there's 2. I'm the original baker, I was a poet, I was a slayer, that's rough. I am dizzy. I was a jester. Okay, well we know that you would have said you're like, okay, we know you're correct. You're correct because you duplicated. You're good because you duplicated. You could be evil still. You're likely good though. All these could be good. You're the drunk. Knight. I wanted to go for them before I got the knight. Out of curiosity, have you played Dead by Daylight at all? Or Phasmophobia? Those are usually 2 games that I default to on Saturday, so I was wondering if you'd ever played any of them. Out of curiosity's sake. Lois and Minion. I will come back for 1 moment. Nope. I was gonna say, because I'm debating on which one. I'm probably gonna do Dead by Daylight this weekend, because they do seem to have fixed up the patch that was causing me to do that was basically causing chases not to happen and all that. But Ah, you're busy on Saturday. Got it. Gotcha. I mean, to be fair, I do upload the VODs onto YouTube, so worst case scenario, you could pop onto that if you do want to watch at some point if you don't have a chance to. So, obviously, if you're busy and you got plans, I ain't gonna take up your time. I ain't gonna be like, you need to be here. Would any character have been affected by an evil? I mean, technically, when I revealed you, you hadn't... That would have been night, so yeah. No character had been affected yet, that would have been true. Probably. Both sides are equally as evil, I'm not sure about that. We can't... There's a lot of questions. We know that you're good at least. Because you would prioritize killing one of these two if this one was evil. Doesn't mean that either of them aren't evil, but it does mean that this one was good. Different getting a bottle of vodka and going drinking by the castle in my city. Ooh. Nice. Have fun with that. Hope you have a good time. Okay, what we can do... So, one of you two is evil. That implies if you're there, that would imply that one of you two is there. Let's kill the architect. That is true, so that means we know that you're correct. That would check out that counterclockwise is the closest evil, which would check out that either you or you is evil. Because you would have... Well, I was going to say, if you're right there, you wouldn't have said closest evils that way, because you don't count yourself for that. Actually, you do. Well, you could just lie, to be fair. Okay, no one would have been corrupted here, because nothing here does anything besides kill. And you would have... I was going to say, who's the puppet? Doesn't matter. No one was corrupted. No one was turned into an outcast. No one was cloned. No one was killed by an evil. So you have to be telling the truth. That means it could be you still. I'm inclined not to believe that. You would have said that you were Lilith if you were evil. Okay. I was gonna say either you were lying or you were there, so we know something had to have happened. Doppelganger Puka, okay. You can't lie, you would have said this. We know for a fact that you're good. We know either you're telling the truth or you're evil. Well, let's say one of you has to be, let's say, you could be corrupted? I was a medium, I was the original baker, you did say that, so I'm inclined to believe you. You cured one corruption. You could be corrupted yourself. Okay, we've had... Besides more evil. If that's true, then that would be evil. Twin minion. Ooh, okay. It's not too bad. Pun intended. I'm the original baker. I was a bard. Well, you did get someone eventually. You're including yourself, so you're guaranteed good. Because you're either Disguise or you're... My bestie was chatting with me about her. You spoke about knowing she was going to come in soon, like an experience she experienced a haunting. Oh, that's one way of putting it. So I'm assuming this person that infuriates you has quite the reputation at your workplace. I've got to assume based on that. So for that... Alright, so you have to be correct, because either you're... Okay, you have to be telling the truth, because... Anyone corrupted? There wasn't a plague doctor. No one could be corrupted, right? Let me just triple check. Twin minion. Yeah, there's no way that could have happened. That also tells the truth that you're correct. You're a doppelganger. So you're correct as well. Because you was an outcast, so you're a doppelganger. That tells me... Yeah, you're the same too, so we know that you're good. Or you're the doppelganger. Well, it doesn't matter. Someone's good here. Closest evil's clockwise, that is true. That means that... Alright. No less is in the deck. Counselor. Okay, interesting. So if we can find out who the potentials are... You could be on this side, so both of you two come to mind immediately. There's one corruption, so either you're corrupted or you genuinely did find someone who's corrupted. Which means either you're corrupted, or you're corrupted. You're good. Okay. You get one mistake. Still. Evils are not adjacent. Easiest way to test is that. 1 is not corrupted. That means 5 was corrupted. Most likely, or you're lying. So you're inclined to be correct. Yeah, I was gonna say, because you're saying that evils are not adjacent to each other. So... it does mean that you're most likely true. So these two are probably good, which means Slayer was corrupted most likely. Actually, no, it could have been you that's the judge, actually, now that I think about it. At least know that you weren't corrupted. Cards. There's nothing that can corrupt. If the Plague Doctor was evil, then you both have to be evil. So you're either both good together or you're evil together. One pair of... Oh, there is one pair of evil, so that means... Which two come to mind? Honestly, my best play here is to kill the Plague Doctor. No, you couldn't kill him. So I'm inclined to believe that you're both good. I'm not a good employee, I even see a terrible employee. I don't have a single complaint about me from customers. This coworker, let's call her. Okay. There's several. My work bestie. Oh boy. Because she's like the human of equivalent of a slur is... That is so specific, though. Weirdly funny in a way. Just because that's so specific. Yeah, it could be. One of you could be corrupted as well. Ooh, this has got interesting. Alternatively, you were corrupted, you could still say that, actually. Well, let's find out. He's saying the truth, so he did cure. So... You have to be that. You know, you were good. So either all 3 of you are evil. Which is not... Well, actually would be... No, that'd be a lie then. What is... If I kill you, then you have to be... One of you two has to be evil. And if that's true, then you're there. Alternatively, you both could be evil. Oh, this is awkward. Okay. I think I need to kill you. Okay, so we know that they're not adjacent. Which means you have to be... Okay, you were corrupted. That's who it was. You were the counselor. Okay. Yeah, that was a weird village. We'll make it work. New one. Okay, honestly, this is a little bit better. I guess I could have checked the alchemist first and killed him first. That probably would have been the better play, now that I'm thinking about it, because there was a good chance, because, Counselor. Poison or Puka Plague. Having a shift with her is that you get a lot of time to cook up insults for her. Understandable. Unless, negative topic. So you said you haven't played either Phasmophobia or Dead by Daylight, right? Honestly, if you want me to tell you, I could tell you about both of them, because I've played both of them pretty decently. I've played more on Phasmo for sure than Dead by Daylight. I could definitely tell you about them if you're curious. Fair enough. I will say, though, if you're going to pick up one of them, I definitely say Phasmo's the better one, just because... Ah, okay. Phasmo's definitely the better one, in my opinion, just because the fact of... Dead by Daylight does have the issue of, if you're not playing with your friends, I don't find it as fun to play Survivor with randoms. That is, like, the one caveat I will definitely say. Okay, what do we got? 1 evil adjacent, 2 is good, So that's a weird scenario. We have Puka, right? Puka, you could be telling the truth. You could be lying. These two are at odds with each other. No evil is adjacent to you means you two. Alright, let's find out this. It's corrupted. Okay. That means that objectively speaking... Hang on, 1 evil adjacent to you is correct, actually. Unless... That, yeah. That had to come out too. It's the only logical explanation. 3, so he did convert someone successfully. Counterclockwise. 2 is good. 2 cards away from the corrupted character. Here's 2 cards away from the closest evil. That's objectively false. Okay, that's corrupted. That's objectively false. Puppeteer has to be adjacent to a puppet. I'm good. We know for a fact that you are good. You would have said you were evil. We can check Plague Doctor onto there. 8 is evil. 5 is corrupted. Right side's more evil. 2 is good. You could be evil. You could be... Objectively speaking, that has to be correct of you, so you have to be correct. Because it would be either right here, right here. Good. I'm 2 cards away from a corrupted character. That's true. Right side more evil has to be an inherent lie. Because we know at least you're here, and we know one of these 2 is evil. That's the puppet. That's the Puka. Four was converted successfully. None of these corrupt, so that is true. Puppet is 1 card away from the closest evil. That's true. You know, you're good. I am 1 card away from the closest evil. You could be the puppet. You could be the puppeteer. You could be some puppeteer. Okay, you could be telling the truth, but you still could be the puppet. We need to keep you in consideration. Nice. Puppeteer. That's evil. That's the witch. And that means puppet's right here. I'm 1 card with the closest evil, that's correct. Puppet is 1 card away from the closest evil, that's correct. 5, okay. Well, all your info's villagers. You could be evil, though. Poop Dominion, just those 2. 5 was affected by an evil. You were a baker. You could be corrupted. That would mean that you or you is evil as the Puka. Right side's more evil. That could be you. one evil adjacent to you. That's legitimate, so either you're evil or you're evil. Puka. Actually, I don't know why I checked you. You could... Well, I mean... You could still be evil, actually. Alright, what do we got? 1, 2, 3. No outcast. One of you two is evil. His red check is right here. You're corrupted, so therefore you're Puka. Which means you're corrupted, which means left side's more evil. So that would mean that 5 was correct. That was correct. One evil adjacent to you is not possible, so you're the minion. I was a druid. No, you weren't. You were a monk. You stick in a wretch. Leggy. Okay. Find that one out. 2 is not corrupted. Boom. Self-report. We know you were corrupted, so if you say you're not, that's a lie. I tried shifting my focus elsewhere. Talk about something cheerful. Honestly, we can try to think of something cheerful. What would be kind of cheerful? I mean, besides finding and executing demons, the most cheerful thing there is known to mankind. Yes, quite. Ooh. I will say, I did actually get to try that beet soup recipe that you were telling me about, like when you were telling me about the beet soup. I actually did get to try it. It's not too bad. It's not what I expected it to taste like, but to be fair, I've only had beets once, and they were pickled beets, which is the Let me Google them. There. My brain does not compute that. Yeah, that. Yeah. My brain was like, took me a moment to process, but yeah, no, so I tried some of that. As I said, I've had pickled beets once, and they taste, I know pickled beets taste way different than regular beets do. But as I said, it was pretty decent, all things considered. Wasn't what I expected. Honestly, it's possible. You were either lying. Well, no, actually, it has to be true because. It has to be true. That could be you as evil. Well, it's not. You could actually be technically saying. You wouldn't have had. Sure. So she does check out. There wouldn't have been a plague doctor. So that's truthful. So there's a twin minion, that's correct. Doesn't mean that you couldn't still be evil. No, but you would have said there, so you would be a liar, or that is correct then. This is awkward. That's truthful. Okay, that just was... Oh, both sides are... Duh. Oh my god. Why am I looking at the right side when he says... Why am I looking on the right side when he says both are evil? How did I flub that? I had my answer right there. I had my answer right there. We don't talk about that. It didn't happen. You can't prove. But yeah, as I was saying, I actually did try it. It was pretty good. Not fully what I was expecting. As it doesn't taste quite like pickled beets. Like the beets didn't taste quite like the pickled beets, but I know pickled beets have a different flavor. They sound pretty close to... I do believe you've actually mentioned that. I do believe actually when I was playing the Persona stream when you popped in the first time, I do believe you mentioned that, yeah. Sounds vaguely familiar. Part of me is like, I almost want to hear what you sound like at some point. Just so I can hear that impression. Maybe the duplicates, so you could be... You're likely good, but... I mean, hey, you take the W's where you can get them, right? You're good. Either you're all good or one of you two is evil. Okay. Corrupted. Poisoner. In order for you to be a Rachel Baker, you're most likely evil. Ooh, that's scary. That's doppelganger. Or you were both lying. I should have killed you. I knew you were a poisoner too. I didn't realize that you were the evil. Oh well. Alright. 4. You didn't corrupt. Nope. That's right, don't lie. You were a baker. Well, I guess you technically were not wrong. You were a baker. So one of you two is evil. Okay, you're correct. 4 cards from a corrupted character and 3 cards from a corrupted character. Judge. Drunk. Well, honestly, it's a very decent probability that evils are not adjacent to each other. That's a lie and a half. Alright. There's drunk, I figured. You said there were none. Yeah, there's drunk. So you're both telling the truth. So you're there. You're the drunk. Or... alternatively, you could be... Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, hang on. You were the puppeteer. Which means... one of you two is the drunk. Which means you're the drunk. We know that you're gonna lie, so we can actually determine based on that. Unless you're the drunk. Okay, do they both say that you're lying? You're lying, so you would be... okay. Well, you're the drunk, so be the shaman. Covered it either way. So you got any other plans for the weekend besides going to drink? 'Cause I know you said you were going to be going to drink some with some of your buddies. I'm kind of curious, you got any other plans besides that? Hopefully right. Fingers crossed. Oh, speaking of which, have you made any progress? Have you made any new progress out of curiosity? Alright. So left side's more evil, so either you're... okay, you're saying that you're both good. Closest evil is equidistance. That means you, or you. Hmm. 1.2k words over. Ooh, nice! Nice! I'm glad to hear that you made some progress. I know you were in a bit of a slump for a little bit. So I'm actually really happy to hear that you made some progress. You couldn't both be evil. So this has to be true, or you're a liar. Actually, if you're a liar, then both of you two have to be true. So we know that for a fact. Which means we know the left side's more evil. Who's not corrupted. And boom, boom, boom. 2 evils. moving on. Three cards away from a corrupted card that will go there, closer to the equidistant. You could be the... Okay, you're not corrupted, which means neither of you... Okay, hang on. We need to start reevaluating this entire side of the board then. Because you're legitimate, which means neither of you two are evil. You two could be evil. Do we have Plague Doctor? You could be corrupted. No, this is evil is equidistant. So it could be you and you. That would line up with you being a liar. So that would have to be... That's a minion. Which means that assuming you're not lying, you did say there were two evils among here. That's a lie. So either you're evil or you're evil. Alright, here's what we do. You know, you two are good there. False. That means you're good. Which means... I guess he wasn't wrong. Well, that's okay. We got 3, so we did manage to get someone. I'll have to make it work. Oh, left side's more evil. You could see your corruptions and get corrupted. That would have to be true. 1 card from the closest to evil. That's true. You count as evil. 4 is a real knight. 1 evil adjacent to you. Nope. Mouse turned off. Left side's more evil. That would... could be. You could be Puppeteer. You could be the... Test here. That's legitimate knight. So you could still be there. Left side's more evil. And since you do count as an evil, that would have to imply that there's 3 evils on this side. Which could be all 3 of us. All 3 of you. That could be... Could be equal, though. You could still be evil. Because if you could be the puppet... No. You could be there. Puppet. You know that's true. You could still be Puppeteer, it's very unlikely. 4 is a real knight, has to be true. Could be there, 1 evil. That is true. And you would have only said 1 evil because it's there. You would have said either no... I guess you could... I was gonna say, no, you would have to be lying. I was gonna say, you have to be telling the truth. Because you would have either said no evils or 1 evil. That makes you puppet. That makes you architect's legit. Okay. Left side more evil. 4 is a real knight. That is true. You know what? Maybe it could be. Yeah, I was gonna say you're a puppeteer, and that's puppet right there. That's the only other scenario that could have been. Puka. No minions, that's incorrect. You cured 2 corruptions. Actually, that is true. There are no minions. So that's true. 5 is a real alchemist. That'll be true as well. 4 is good. I don't know if Gemcrafter can actually do stuff, but you are self-reporting on yourself. That is inclined to believe. I mean, you could be. Alright, here's what we can do. Bombardier, that is true. We could be Puka. I mean... I wonder how that would work if you're not, though. I mean, I guess you could still say. Bombardier could still be evil. Well, actually, no, I was going to say you can corrupt it, there's no minions. You get 2 corruptions cured, so that would have had to be... Is that possible? Hang on for a moment. Is that possible? No. That's not possible, actually. The only character here I can corrupt is Puka. If Puka was right here, you'd have to cure yourself and there, meaning you'd be corrupted. Puka's right, one of these 3. 4 is good while you're telling the truth on yourself. There are no minions, that's truth. I guess that doesn't help. 5 is a real alchemist. I mean, we killed both of them. Corrupted. Medium. Okay, 4 was a Puka. To be fair, that was really awkward saying this is there and you were corrupted. Oh wait, no, I should have... Why did I kill you, actually, now that I think about it? Why did I kill you? That was a flub. That was definitely a flub on my end. I don't know why I did that now that I'm thinking. Because you were corrupted. You were a real alchemist. I don't know why I killed you for saying that you were a real alchemist. That should have been a kill on 4. Because you would have had to both be... have we shown a quote from the writing book? I don't think you have, actually. What we'll do, given the time, is we'll try to go through this, or if we flub it, we go to. Either way. Sure, honestly. You include yourself, so you have to be telling the truth. Or you're corrupted. Well, we at least know you're innocent. Doppelganger puppeteer. Well, either you're corrupted, or you're innocent, and that's a doppel. Which honestly very possible, considering womp, womp. You include that. All 3 of you, both of you are good, you're corrupted. Or you're lying. That's legitimate bishop. That's a doppelganger, that means 8's evil. Which means that you could be corrupted still, right? No, no corruption. No corruption. Puppeteer. 3 pairs of evil? Actually it is possible. That actually is possible. Because 1, 2, hang on. No, that could be true. That's good. And that's also just objectively wrong. And you're puppet. That's 4. Wait. But yeah, I would definitely like to hear some. If you're willing to tell me. I saw with a different guy, I felt like my heart soared. I heard him speak and I knew my was clearly a curse in its past life. Ooh. Ooh, the feeling. Ooh, I'm feeling something on that. That is a good line, yeah. I apologize for going grammar Nazi on you, though. There is one small typo, and that's there shouldn't be an apostrophe on the it's part. Because it would say it is past life then. But outside of that, that looks pretty good, yeah. I got chills reading that line. In the good way. But I do apologize for going a little bit of grammar Nazi on you for a moment. It's one of those cases I'm used to having to remind my little sister about the same thing, so I spot it and I go, boop, lock on. Okay, so we have 2 corrupted, or 1, at least 1 corrupted. Actually, no, if you're right here and you're evil, then you could be. Doesn't matter. 2 pairs of evil, 2 pairs of evil. That's an interesting implication, because either you're evil, or you're tied to one of these 3. You were a knight. No, you weren't. You were Puka. I was a knight. No, you were a Puka, which means you physically aren't. You both have to be telling the truth then. And that means that you are evil, because that would have been next to you. I don't doubt it. That's the way it sounds. You clearly got a knack for writing. You cured 0 people. Well, you're a liar, because that would have come up, you wouldn't have killed that. So anyway, you could have interrupted, actually, hang on. No. Okay. Puppeteer. You could be, I actually should have left you flipped. I figured you meant writing, yeah. I figured you meant writing. Because I don't think you've played this before. From the sounds of it. You probably would have been telling me, kill this person, kill this person. 3, 2, 8. That does not help me right now. Actually, we can. We can find out if you're... Okay, you were actually... So you were good. So either all of you are good, or they're Puppeteer. One of you two is evil. That's an actual alchemist. So we know that's Puppeteer, so we know that Judge is Puppet. That puppet can still be useful to us, though. The problem is that we kind of had a 50-50 there, without gambling. So Minion and Alola still in here. I'm 1 card away from the closest evil. That's not entirely wrong. There actually is a decent chance that you are. Couldn't kill him. Either you're telling the truth, or you're... Okay, here we go. What we can do? 3 evils. That is true. That is objectively true. Because evil show up as evil. So that would have said... That would have said 0. You couldn't kill 5. What's the closest evil? Lilith. Minion. Go to a corrupted character, that is Polydoctor can't be corrupted. 3's not corrupted, that means you're a liar. You were a baker. Over there. Okay. No evil's adjacent to you, so that means you know you're all good. And it also means nothing. This... You couldn't kill. Knight's corrupted, that's bad. You were a judge. That means that you most likely were not. Saying truth, that's correct. You couldn't kill 4. How can you kill 4? Could be... Ooh, this is bad, actually. Yeah, that was corrupted. One of you two had to be evil. I just realized that was bad, that we killed the knight. That's fine. Or Steamy scene, you ask a friend to give you an opinion, respond with sorry it took so long after cooking. Just my girlfriend. Oh no. Oh no. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. I mean, hey, flattery is the... They say that there's this expression that flattery is the best form of compliment. So... that's pretty good. Poisoner, bad. Drunk? There's a drunk, there's not a bombardier. So you know someone's lying. So here's the dealio. You're either corrupted, in which case you're the drunk, or you're just corrupted in general. We know poison then has to be near you. Could be there. Easiest way to tell for that. Left side is more evil. Not entirely possible at all. Unless, because it's like, well, you could be either clockwise, counterclockwise. So you two are basically accusing each other, essentially. Actually, you also line up. I'm gonna put you right here. You two are basically saying the closest evil is this way. So either you're both evil, or neither of you are, and these two have to be evil then. Or that has to... Couldn't kill 3. Interesting. You're either the drunk, or you're poisoned. Or you're just straight up evil, actually. That's an alchemist. That's a corrupted drunk. So we know neither of you two were poisoned. Because you would have cured if one of you 3 was evil. And you don't count as... That also does tell me something interesting, and that's that you don't consider the cured the drunk, because you don't get cured. So we know you're not corrupted, we know you're not corrupted, we know you're not corrupted. Left side is more evil. You could be... It does count this, so... Closest evil is clockwise. Okay, let's find out real quick. That is true, so therefore... Poisoner. You're guaranteed telling the truth. At least about yourself. You're good. Okay, you cured 1 corruption. Left side is more evil. Plague Doctor is possibly dead. We can't rule that out. (682) 637. So you have to be telling the truth, or you're corrupted. If you were corrupted, you would have been telling. You would be not corrupted anymore. Let's put it like that. So you have to be telling the truth. And imagine speaks to their girlfriend. Her response is please. I mean, hey, whatever gets you going at the end of the day. I ain't gonna judge. Left side's more evil. Honestly, it's very possible. Because either you're just directly lying, or they're evil. There's 3 of them that are here. Doesn't mean at least 2 of them would have to be on here, because it could still be 1 on here. Easiest way to tell, I was gonna say... You couldn't kill 6, you couldn't kill 6. 637. You could be... No. No. Ironically enough, you could be corrupted as well. We have an idea what the doppelganger is. One of the slayers is a doppelganger. One of the slayers is a doppelganger, which means you're evil, or you're evil. Because you are good, or you're evil. You can't be evil because you include yourself. You, evil, potentially. Alright, we know you two. 1 evil. Minion. So you're telling the truth. You did not include them. You did not include them. So we know at least... You couldn't kill 6 because 6 was good. Or because you're evil, rather. Yeah. So that's the... No, do you know what that means? I forgot these 2 could be doppelgangers as well. So we have this guy, this guy, this guy, or this guy is the counselor. Force restraint. I mean, fair enough. Personally, for me, lust is more of a lust for knowledge than the other kind. But, again, whatever gets you going, I ain't gonna judge. Did you actually cure one corruption, or did you... Oh, there's your knowledge, boo. That was the... Yeah, that was the most likely counselor, because both of these two... I was gonna say, you pointed to him. Yeah, I knew you were most likely legit, because you included the doppelganger as one of these two. So this is the doppelganger. You're correct. You're correct. This is evil. So you know that these two are. Two could be evil. It does include that side. It's the counselor. I almost wish you weren't the counselor, because the fact of I would probably just go axe you then. This thing has to be lying. That side is more evil. Okay, this is interesting. Because I guess I could kill you, because if you're telling the truth, then one of you two has to be evil. And if you're correct, that makes you evil. I was gonna say, and if you weren't, well, you're lying. Because I'm assuming that this was... Yeah, this was the Plague Doctor like I thought. So you did cure. One... Oh, actually, considering this, you had to have been the one that was corrupted, because it wouldn't have said anything else. If you were corrupted, you would not have... That was a doppelganger like I thought. Or I guess he could have been next to the... I guess he could have been next to the Plague Doctor too, technically. I guess I didn't consider that. But to be fair, we didn't know he was confirmed Plague Doctor. I was a bard. So here's the interesting thing. One of you two is evil. Closest evil is equidistant. 163. Here's the interesting dilemma. I gotta start with you first. Yeah, I was gonna say, I gotta start with you first. Because you were saying that they're there, and you two actively I was gonna say, you're either telling the truth and we're corrupted, or you're evil. And then you're saying you're 2 cards away, so you had to be the corrupted or you're evil. It had to be one of them. Alright, 1 village, but 3 lives. Let's make it work. This again. Oh, more or less the same. That's slightly harder. Good kill. So you weren't evil. So we know we flipped over the Lilith. Now we flipped over the Lilith. One equal adjacent to me. Okay, you're either... One of you two is evil. If I kill one of the knights and I'm wrong, I just die. That's a doppelganger. That's actually one evil adjacent to you. That's the bomber then. The bomber is evil. That was cheeky. I was gonna say this is correct. Because you're good. And if you're legitimate, you know that you have to be right here. That was actually a safe kill on the bomber. One evil adjacent to you, or you're there. Do we have poisoner? We do. Oh, I just realized. Even if we get the right card here, let's assume that the wretch is good for the sake of argument, right? Even if we get this, right? Well, actually, this can't be a lie because this was good. This has to be evil. Here's the issue. Unless this card was poisoned, one of these 2 knights is poisoned. I picked the wrong one. I die. He poisoned it. He poisoned that one. That one was corrupted. That was lucky. Oh, that's such a... That is such a good way. Oh. No, we're ending that off on a good note. We are ending that off on such a good note. Oh, man. Whoa. That was tense at the end. We got the 50-50. We got the 50-50. And it's like, it wouldn't have mattered because we could have argued, okay, well, if we selected the middle one, I guess technically the middle knight would have been the safer kill to play because there was been a 50-50. I probably should have killed that one first, to be honest, because there was a 50% he touched the one above or the one below. If it was the one below, it would have had to guaranteed go to the middle one. Between the three. So yeah, I guess I should have hit the middle one first, because if he was corrupted on the bottom, that would have actually been GG. I actually definitely fumbled that at the end, but we still made it. It didn't matter. Guess it just makes it more dramatic. Yeah, no, this was pretty fun. So we'll be ending off stream here, I think. I want to end it off on a positive note. So, I think that's the plan. I'll be back on Saturday for playing Dead by Daylight. Since I heard that things have been mostly patched up more or less, we're in a much better situation than previously. So I'll be playing, I'll see if we got some other people that are going to be wanting to join. If we do, we'll do some Survivor rounds. Otherwise, I'll do the usual and play Killer and maybe touch some Spirit. Definitely do some Ghostface rounds. We'll see. In either case, thank you everyone for joining. And I'll be seeing you all next stream. And I know, Syllables, since I know you're not going to be here, as I said, I upload, it should be attached to here somewhere. Let me go find it. Let me go find it real quick. That is noise. I don't want noise. Alright. Yep. Okay, it is here. Yeah, right under the About section, there should be a link to the YouTube there, so... That's fair. I could definitely just send you the video directly as well. That's a good point. Either way, we'll figure it out. In either case, everyone, take care and have a wonderful rest of your day. As I said, I'll be seeing you on Saturday. We'll probably be doing some Dead by Daylight unless something goes wrong, in which case we'll just go back to Phasmo. One of the two. Unless something else comes up. But yeah, I'll be seeing you all on Saturday. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.